So Toni Storm at the start of this week's episode of Dynamite was in her brand new Carmen Sandiego gear when Mercedes Manet, who was dressed like a sparkly cowgirl, attacked her, beat her up backstage, and even threw her into a box-like structure. So I don't know about you, my friends, but this AEW Dynamite started hot. Mercedes also looked right into the camera and said, "Welcome to Dynamite." It's like, camera person, why did you film that? Why didn't we cut the feed? I mean, essentially, you were responsible or part responsible for a crime. You can't attack people backstage for doing crimes. I can't do the crime counter today because what culture is having a little bit of a editor crisis? That's not true. Lots of people are just on holiday. So I'm editing this, but I also have to go and do other things in my life. It's just a busy day. That's why things like this can happen. Repo Man. So there's the balance. But they also said that Tony had embarrassed her and called her a bitch. Well, Mina Shirakawa's music started to play, which meant she was backstage going, "Come on, production guy, you gotta push play. I need to go out there and help my friend." But it also got announced the next week, which is Dynamite 300, by the way, which is totally ridiculous. It is gonna be Mina versus Manet, and that rhymes and sounds a little bit like a kid's cartoon show. Mercedes then ran away, because of course she did, and shouted, "Let the games begin." And then Excalibur by accident ruined that and said, well, really, the games have already begun. But I think this is exactly what the feud did need. Like, I wouldn't say it's been comedy the last few weeks, but it's had a light edge to it, whereas now we've gone super hardcore and they're beating each other up, and you have to imagine we'll probably get a heavy heat angle in 7 days' time. So I am going to give it an up, and also, I think when we get to All In, this could be one of those matches we talk about for ages. I mean, it's Mercedes Manet, who has totally refound herself, versus Toni Storm, who has totally refound herself. I'm an excited Eric. That one doesn't work, it sounds weird. Also, hello my friends, and welcome to AEW Dynamite. That's right, ups and downs looks a little bit weird today because I am editing it, and yes, I have to be somewhere in about 2 hours. So for some reason, I've started to shadow box, but that's just life. I'm blessed to have these opportunities. And in fact, this Dynamite continued to be crazy because the Young Bucks appeared on the big screen. They were like, we're in charge. We're fancy-wancy people. So there was meant to be a Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland tag team match later, but it's happening right now. Will Ospreay's music then started to play. Thank goodness he didn't come out instantly. I was having a little bit of a worry, but it was way better than that because he was super late, as you would do, and he was taping his wrists and tying his boots as he got to the ring, and it was the same for Swerve. This was just a nice bit of wrestling fun. Do not forget, when we watch wrestling, it's meant to be fun, and you don't find it fun, you can do this. I don't have a remote control near, but you can just go bloop and turn it off. But remember, if your remote control goes bloop, it's definitely broken. I am now going to whack a 1 on the randomizer, although I'm not because I don't have those kind of graphics. Just imagine it. Use your childhood brains because these two were taking on Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. Where the flub did that come from? Now, yes, I get it. It was so that Swerve and William could get a win. And listen, if we were going to wrap this up into a nice, neat little package, as a tag team, flub me sideways, they're very good. But apparently, the internet doesn't want to talk about that because it wants to talk about something else. Because yes, at one point, Blake Christian did grab Will Ospreay's hand and he basically walked on the top rope for around about 42 seconds, whatever it was. Some nerd timed this. Actually, I don't want to call them a nerd because it's called being a nerd. And people, when I woke up this morning, had sent me lots of messages saying, "Simon, what did you think of this?" Well, I'm going to tell you, brace yourself. I don't care. Because I don't want to ruin it for you, but wrestling is predetermined. I know, keep it on the down low. But it means these two wonderful things can happen all of the time. Firstly, yes, sometimes wrestling should be super duper serious and make you feel something in your tum-tum. But two, sometimes we should go, you know what? It is a little bit of a silly business. We can do whatever we want. And given that we have this creativity, let's just dive in, even if the audience will go, "Oh, you silly gooses. I can see what's happening here." So it didn't bother me at the time. And if it had have done, I would have been over it in around about 3.2 seconds. Because to ignore the rest of this match, well, you're just doing yourself a disservice, man. Totally ruled. I suppose the big story beat was when the Young Bucks walked out halfway through to cause distraction, which did work. And Blake Christian actually stomped Swerve, so he should be super duper mad. But basically, eventually Will and Swerve got it back together. And some of their combos and some of their coming togetherness as a tag team, well, just to spoil the show, this could happen in about 4 minutes. They are going to take on the Young Bucks at All In. And it should be one of the best matches of the year. We also hit this really cool super kick brainbuster Mortal Kombat combo at the end when Swerve Strickland won with the house call, and I like that too. Because actually between both Ospreay and Strickland, they have like 47,986 moves that can end matches. And that brings the secret sauce And that brings the jeopardy. The Usos Wrestling security guards ran out there because they didn't want to see a brawl. This is when Swerve Strickland was like, we're all so bored of you. You've been doing this for a year. So I am going to team with Willie here. And we are going to take you on All In. And you should remember, even though you had this following, it's about the fans. We wouldn't be here without the fans. And we love the fans. So they were kissing some ass. Well, what Ospreay was like, I also have a terrific idea. He was not holding the microphone like this. But if you lose at the biggest pay-per-view of the year, you are no longer EVPs. Now I laugh because the way they phrased this sounded like the winner is going to be executive vice presidents. I was like, man, if Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay get the victory, then you cut to the Dynamite the week after, like in an office. What did we think? What were we thinking? I don't want to do this. The whole point is I wanted to be a wrestler. What we could do here is the Young Bucks could lose. They do give up their EVP status in terms of what we see on the screen, and it's probably the start of their next babyface run. Why the flub nut? As always, Swerve Strickland didn't give a damn, because when he sees people, or he sees his Goombas from Mario, he then did the big stomp onto everyone as the Young Bucks ran away. And listen, we kind of knew a few weeks ago this was the direction we were headed in. You do need to get it confirmed properly for All In, so like 19 days away. But I have no issue with it whatsoever. I mean, whoever won the Owen was going to go on to fight Jon Moxley, and the loser would have teamed with Swerve. A lot of us thought it was going to be Hangman, but Will and Strickland together works as well. I don't care what anyone says about the Young Bucks. They are one of the best tag teams ever. Giving it up. We then got a flipping video for Kota Ibushi, who did just randomly come back on Collision. And yes, we got a little bit of history here too, to explain his relationship with Kenny Omega, which means maybe Ken is coming back next week. But apparently, Kota Ibushi is doing way better than he has been doing in recent years. And believe you me, that dude had a hard time. This is good news. We also saw the Young Bucks in the back, and they suspended Swerve Strickland for attacking AEW official, which does not bode well for Will Ospreay in 7 days' time. When in walked some of the Don Callis family, without Don Callis, the Young Bucks were like, listen, we like you, but in regards to your boss, we think he's an absolute moron. Okada was there as well, so essentially what they have all decided to do is to come together to totally ruin anything they don't like, especially Hangman Adam Page, I would presume, given what happened at the end of this Dynamite. But then we had a tease, because Takeshita walked up to Okada and said, listen, we are friends for now. Imagine somebody said that to you in real life. You've got a buddy called Steve, right? And you love Steve, and you're about to go to pizza with Steve, and Steve gets in your face and you go, listen, we will have that cheesy goodness for now. He'd be like, you know what, Steve? I don't want to be your friend no more. Trent was here too, saying that he was basically going to kill Kota Ibushi, and this was very good timing, because it was Kota Ibushi versus Trent. And fair play to both these guys. They've had all the injuries. They've had to go away and come back again and go away and come back again. I thought they had a very nice match, which makes no sense, but I've said it anyway. Kota Ibushi was always going to win. But Trent totally understood the job. Round of applause all around. I mean, I was freaking out here because they both had bad necks. So on every bump, I was like, oh man, they're going to die. But I think they were fine. Thumbs up. Rocky Romero's out there too, casting distraction, which would usually go on the dick counter, but the main thing is the babyface still won, and it was essentially a greatest hits, because he hit the V-trigger, did old Kota Ibushi, he got the Kamigoye, and he beat him for the 1-2-3. And also, Tony Khan went nuts after this, because Okada came to the ring, he looked at Kota Ibushi, this is the worst plan ever, and he turned around and walked away. I was like, dude, just send a letter. What a waste of energy. But we're actually doing Ibushi versus Okada on Dynamite 300. Now listen, if you know the history between those two, and I told you in like 2019 this was going to happen on American television, you would have had a meltdown. And if we get this right, well, depending on your love for pro wrestling, it could increase the ratings. We wait and see. This just made me feel good in my Tootsie Toe because people are healthy again, and nothing more important than that. Give it up. Jon Moxley was then sat on a stairwell, and that is not the name of my brand new kids book. But listen, I don't know if something has fired him up the last few weeks, but he cut a great promo here, essentially saying, oh, boo-hoo, Hangman Adam Page, you've got personal problems, and you don't know if you do want to be the world champion. Well, that's why I hate you, and that's why you're disgusting, so it just means at All In, I'm gonna rip your head off. I mean, I've had some fun there, but that was essentially the message. He basically just thinks the Hangman is one big emo crybaby who can't figure out what his past should be, and that's fine for Mox, because he doesn't think twice. He is not Celine Dion, and that's why he's going to walk away from Texas with a big belt. Now, you really need to go and watch this. It will sell you on that match if you haven't already. Just think Jon Moxley is falling into Eddie Kingston territory here. Does he know it's a work? Probably not. Makes for good talking, though. Up. Before this too, Rene Paquette was going to talk to AR Fox when Ricochet walked in. Man, do I love this new character of Ricochet. He's like, listen, AR Fox, you may have realized that I'm trying to recruit people for my new group so that I can win a championship, and I'd love to give you a trial. Now, AR Fox did not want to do this, and he was basically tricked into it. And then during the match, as soon as there was any kind of jeopardy, Ricochet was like, screw this. He ran away, and he left AR Fox to be killed. I tell you, man, when Ricochet starts this group, it should just be bald people, and I can be included in it. I can be the special guest color commentator that comes out and says cool things about bald people. Everybody has that nowadays. I accept the job. Well, there is no job. Well, I'm trying. They were taking on Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey too, and I actually thought this was quite smart, even though it was a little bit random. But we needed Mike and Kevin to get a win, as I stumble over my words, or Speed Night, whatever the hell they're called, Jet Speed. We needed to continue Ricochet's story, and AR Fox is just the man. Like, if you knew your life was on the line, and you needed someone to go out there and perform the best flippy-dippy doodah stuff you'd ever seen, you'd ring up Mr. Fox and say, hello, I need you to pull this off. He'd be like, no problem. The dude is very talented. Ricochet even told Fox to calm down. I've got this at the beginning. When Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight just smashed him around for a bit, when he desperately tagged out, and even when AR Fox was doing better, these two continually fell out with each other. So the babyface was like, well, if you're going to do this, we're just going to throw you to the outside. And they did. Then we got double dives, 2025. Ricochet was so mad at one point he was trying to use Simba the Steel Steps. But that's when he was like, you know what? This is not going to go the way I want it to go, so I am going to run away. Poor AR Fox got hit with the Sky High. He got hit with the UFO splash. 1, 2, 3. And this is when I was like, right, what is happening now with the tag team titles? And Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight did get on the microphone, and they made some very strange choices here. Mike decided, well, I'm going to recite Spider-Man quotes, whereas Kevin Knight was like, well, I'm going to sing MVP's old theme song. I was like, man, how did we get here? It makes no sense. And then just as they said they were going to go after the tag team titles, the Hurt Syndicate were here, and my friends, they totally wokely murdered them. MJF and MVP, the acronym brothers, even applauded this. They were so happy, and they threw Mike Bailey through a table. And this confused me, like I'm still trying to catch up. If you could help me in the comments, I'd appreciate it. It didn't say Slim Jim on the tables. So how am I supposed to know what these tables do? Do they snap? Do they break? Do they just explode? I mean, this was a bit of a fumble. How am I meant to respond to a table break if it doesn't have some very well-placed advertising on it? MVP was great here too, because he then got a microphone and said, oh, well, we do have a segment, so if you could play our music, that would be great. And here's the deal. And given the matching up, I just thought it was a barrel of fun. But as for the rest of it, I don't know. Because I have started to make myself believe, look, man, Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight are getting murked so much every single week. This match is going to happen at All In, and I actually think they are going to be the ones to win the tag team titles. Now, I'm sure they'll slip on a banana peel, but sometimes that's fine. It's like when WWE chooses an individual to win Money in the Bank, and they go, lose, 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 lose. Oh, I've got a briefcase, and somehow that does reset them. And I think that would be the same here. Now, listen, if they get defeated, I would give this a down, but I've convinced myself. So at the moment, it's nothing, like the finger's going like this, and eventually it will stop somewhere. But yes, it has raised my eyebrow. I'm both very excited and very concerned. Let's say the catchphrase, gotta stop doing this, we wait and see. MVP tied into all of this as well, because he was just begging someone to step up, and he even said, all right, Mike and Kevin, you can have a tag team title shot if you can still walk. Might see, I told you, they've got to be winning here. When he passed the microphone over to MJF, and these two got some serious heat, I was surprised by this because Maxwell was like, here's my big announcement for the evening. I am going to enter one of these qualifying matches for the Casino Gauntlet. Then I'll win that, and I'll take out Dictator John, or I'll take out that fraud Hangman Cowboy Adam Page doodah. I was like, damn, I didn't think that was going to happen. But I bet you what does go down is that Mystico will be a surprise entrant in that thing, and he will throw MJF over the top rope. Then whenever the next big CMLL show is after that, well, you could do the rematch. It does feel like eventually Maxwell's going to have to go after the World Championship too. When Mark Brisco walked down, well, that was quite unexpected. He was like, look, I was talking with the production team, and they know you're just going to go on and on and on and run way over time. So I have a match, so I'm out here to tell you to shut up. Now, MJF had a meltdown and said, I'm a star, I can do whatever I want. But he also said, I've got to get this right, why don't you go back to your ranch picking up chicken shit, you blue-collared bitch? There's a lot to unpack there. Now, Mark actually wasn't offended by this at all, because he understands. He was like, MJF, I understand you're overcompensating here. You got bullied as a kid, and that's why you're trying to find friends, because essentially, You have a little kosher pickle in your pants, and that's why you want to hang out with the Hurt Syndicate. So that's it. From now on, if for some reason I am talking about my special area, I am going to call it a kosher pickle. It's probably not a best idea, but this made me laugh, especially because if you look in the ring, Bobby Lashley totally breaks here. He laughs too. It just makes you feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum. Even MVP was like, you know what, we're just going to leave you to it, as he calmed MJF down, and they walked away while glaring at him. I thought it was totally fabulous. Why do we watch professional wrestling? To be entertained. I was doing backflips here. They all sold this wonderfully, and who doesn't like a good break in pro wrestling? Especially when it's Bobby Lashley, who is huge. Giving it up. I actually think there's a tie in here as well, because if you can believe it, it was a qualifier for that casino match, the Gauntlet, whatever the flub we're calling it, and it was Mark Briscoe taking on Takeshita, taking on Bandido, taking on Roderick Strong, and Mark Briscoe won. Now, that never happened, so I couldn't believe it, but also, it means him and MJF will probably both be in that damn thing, and they can carry this on there. That's good booking, man. You plant the seeds, you pick them up, and you hope you don't get thrown and burned in an oven. Poor Bandido got totally wrecked at the start here too, because Takeshita caught him and threw him into Barry Barricade when we got some dives, because 2025. And later on, Bandido, I think, must have been going for the splash of the frogs. And Takeshita pushed him off, and the way Bandido landed on the ground. Why am I laughing? This wasn't funny. It was totally disgusting. I thought he was dead. Briscoe then missed the froggy bow, and when Bandido went for the 21-plex, Takeshita appeared behind him and Mark Briscoe and gave them this double German suplex. It was so damn wonderful. Then he followed it up with the Blue Thunderbomb, the least devastating move in all of sports entertainment. And did it work? Of course it didn't. It never does. Bandido must have been so annoyed about that, because he did hit the 21-plex on Takeshita, but Takeshita was really smart and realized he had a bunch of MP, so he cast roll and he went out the ring, so Bandido couldn't follow it up. When Roderick Strong was here, he hit the end of Heartache. When Mark Briscoe was like, I'm on the top rope, he dove in with the froggy bow, he smashed Roderick's face, and he got the 1, 2, 3. This was such a good match. You should find 15 minutes to watch it today. And Mark Briscoe winning, I tell you, I was jumping around my room, which is weird because I watched Dynamite alone. I am giving it an up, and honestly, if Mark Briscoe won that flipping gauntlet, I wouldn't mind at all. Like, I doubt he'd become the world champion, but even having that as a title match, do it. Adam Cole then issued an open challenge to anyone in the Don Callis family for Collision, and oddly, it was Josh Alexander that accepted it. If I was Carl Fletcher, I'd be like, excuse me, I'm the guy feuding with him, what are you doing? We moved right on as well with the Women's Casino Gauntlet as well, and this was cool too, because it was Athena, who rarely gets to be on Dynamite, and she was mega over, Thunder Rosa, Chris Statlander, and Willow Nightingale. This was another one where you're like, man, anybody could win here. And sure, little bits were a bit funky, but mostly it was so damn good, especially because we did the Chris and Willow stuff, and we did the Thunder and Athena stuff. If you do read the internet like a geek like me, it sounds like they're going to have a match over All In Weekend. That should be really good too. Now, actually, I'm going to jump right to the end here, because I think the story is the most interesting thing. Now, Athena and Thunder Rosa took each other out by throwing them each other into Simba the Steel Steps and then doing a suplex off it. So I was like, well, their back's never going to work again. When in the ring, it looked like Willow Nightingale was going to do her thing. She smashed the cannonball. She was going for the Dr. Bomb. When out came Marina Shafir, and Wheeler Yuta was here too. Now, of course, it's cast distraction, but Willow was still able to pounce Wheeler Yuta away, but Chris Statlander maybe or maybe did not know what was going on. She surprised Willow, she hit the Wednesday Night Fever, and she got the 1, 2, 3. Then she clocked Marina Shafir, who turned to M. Bison and went, ha ha ha. And do not forget, who talked to Chris Statlander last week? It was John Moxley. It sounds like they are trying to recruit Chris Statlander, which of course go one of two ways. It could mean, I guess, that she wins the Casino Battle Royal Gauntlet thing, whatever the flub we're talking about, thanks to them. Or it could mean she realizes the Death Riders are bad news and finally does get back together with Willow Nightingale. She realizes she needs a friend, or Nightingale is finally like, you a bad person, man, and our forever feud has to continue. I like all of these options. I should mention that Billy Starks was helping out Athena as well, so that story continues. So this was layered, man, and actually made me go, you know what, the AEW Women's Division is in a really good position, and we could do more with all 4 of these, and that kind of rhymes, but it is Chris Statlander going through, and like I say, it was Mark Briscoe. Give it an up. We then learned that it's going to be Christian Cage and fake son Nick Wayne taking on Big Bill and Brian Keith on Collision. So that ties into that patriarchy storyline. When we were here with FTR, Stokely Hathaway were like, listen, Outrunners, we don't appreciate what you did on Collision, so I suggested our revenge should be vandalism. But Cash and Dak said, nah, we shouldn't do it. Man, I don't know who decided to pair these three together, but they are great. Instead, they're just going to have a match on Collision, the FTR versus the Outriders, which I think was first done in 1987. Well, we just got the craziest main event. It was also Internet Meltdown number 2, because it was Hangman Adam Page versus Beast Mortos. So many people were like, blah, 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 blah. Beast Mortos is only in this spot because he's dating Mercedes Manet. And my reaction to that was, all right, well, I don't care. Maybe it's true. It's not like he's not a really talented individual that deserves his opportunities. If somebody walked up to me and said, oh, Simon, I hear you're dating this person now. We'd like to put you in this spot. I would go, no, I can't possibly accept that. Also, we don't know. We have no idea. I don't care how he got there. I'm just happy that he is there. And also, these two went out there, had an absolute banger. Now, actually, I'm going to give it a down, but only because the Beast Mortis up until this point hasn't been booked as a jobber, and I hate that word, I shouldn't have said it, but he doesn't really win. So all of a sudden, he has taken on Hangman Adam Page, who is supposed to be our big bright light that's going to head into All In and win the World Championship. And while the nerd part of me was like, of course I want him to go back and forth, the more, well, nerd part of me is the two different kind of a nerds. It's like, Hangman really should run through this guy, because we have seen people at a lesser level than the Cowboy take on the Beast, and they've wrecked him, so Hangman should wreck him. So listen, this is a bit of a harsh down. I get it every week, Simon, you're so harsh. But AEW has been so damn good the last few weeks, you have to raise the bar a little bit, otherwise what are we doing? So I'm giving it a down, and if you want to get mad at me, 2 things you can do. Comment, subscribe, come talk to me on social media. That's 3 things, but damn it, I like engagement. Once again, though, this Beast Mortis fit in here like a glove, because he's so damn good. Although the outside moonsault, the SIE moonsault that Hangman Adam Page missed, I had a conniption, man. He landed on his foot or his body in a really weird way. I was like, please do not explode this close to the pay-per-view. He's a very durable cowboy, and I think he's okay. The pop-up powerbomb he hit on Beast Mortis 2 was massive, and that's why this dude is so good. He can base for other people, but he also zips around like a balloon. In many ways, he doesn't make any sense. Also, some people are saying we should do a Beauty and the Beast storyline between him and Mercedes Manet, and do you know what I say to that? No. Mortis then came back with a Samoan drop. I'm sorry, but he is most definitely not Samoan, so it was just a drop. And this is when I was like, what is his style? He has no style. He can basically just cook anything, which means he should probably be a chef. He eventually wanted a tombstone, but Hangman Adam Page matched him here because he gave him a poison rana when he took his head off with a lariat when he gave him the buckshot one, and he did beat him for the 1, 2, 3. And I don't think we talk about this enough either. Hangman Adam Page is such a well-rounded wrestler. He's another one, man. He could just do it all. Now, the lights went out after this, which was a bit weird, because when they came back on, the Young Bucks must have run out there going, shh, shh, don't tell anyone. And they had Adam in the EVP trigger position, which I guess will just be called the trigger soon. I was like, how did they get him there? That doesn't make any sense. They tickle him or something. But of course, they gave him the damn EVP trigger. They said, this is your fault, this is on you. So either they have finally turned on him, or it's a Vince McMahon Rock situation from Survivor Series 1998, the Deadly Game Tournament. If you know, you know. The Death Riders then came out because John Moxley loves to pick up the pieces when Samoa Joe and the Operations made the save. When finally Will Ospreay came out because they needed the numbers game here. But what was super interesting, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think I am, Swerve Strickland never showed his face because, of course, he doesn't know what to do. He's accepted William into his life, but as for the Cowboy, well, you know, it's kind of maybe not have feelings, man, and I can't work through them. Eventually, the bad guys did leave because you have to do that on a professional wrestling show when Moxley shouted right into the camera, I'll show everybody what a world champion looks like. And I was like, Jonathan, that is totally on you, right? You put the world title in a briefcase so nobody could see it. If you just walked around with it around your waist or on your shoulder, put it in your mouth for eye care, everybody would know you're the world champion. So don't come screaming down my lens. You did this to yourself. I just thought all of this was so damn good though. And we can finally see the divisive lines here. You got the bad guys and you got the good guys. And I think this all-in main event is going to be a second half WrestleMania 40 main event situation. There's going to be so many bumps. There's going to be so many run-ins. But do you know how good that WrestleMania 40 thing was? I have no problem if somebody else wants to pull it off, especially if it means Hangman Adam Page winning. That really does feel like where the waters are flowing to me. You just want to make everybody feel damn good. But hey, we will find out, but I love the fact there is so much jeopardy here. My favorite word, I am going to give it an up, mostly because Dynamite did that thing. I was like, oh, there's a pay-per-view in 2 weeks. Damn it, I'm excited. Now, of course, you're going to be super duper mad because I only gave it 1 down, but honestly, I thought everything else went out there and did its job. No, it doesn't mean it was the best show of all time. I keep telling you that's not what the counters mean, but this bald a-hole had a good time. getting it up. Now, of course, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Drop me a comment below and saying, Simon, you biased bald a-hole. You're just trying to get a job, even though I've been doing this for 9 years and not one person has ever offered me a place of employment. Just interact with the video, man, and remember that pro wrestling is the best thing in the world. See you soon.